We got breaking news. Katie Hobbs has won Arizona, reports Decision Desk, that they have flipped the Republican state to Democrat as of 8:50 p.m. with 98% reporting Kari Lake was still down and unable to win. There were not enough remaining votes, so they're calling it.
What do you think Kari's going to do? I don't think she's going to take this lying down.
She better not. Yeah. I think she's going to file some lawsuits. They absolutely should. She has standing here, and she has to move very, very quickly on this one. Look, if the people of Arizona legally, respectfully voted for Katie Hobbs, so be it. Yep. So be it. Yep. But in today's day and age, with the way this country is going, Kari Lake absolutely should not. And in order to solve the problem of 2020 and now of 2022 with ballot harvesting and universal mail-in voting, the long lines, the adjudication, the broken machines, you need standing. And that standing just happened right now. Kari Lake negatively impacted by file lawsuits now. And it's entirely possible the state of Arizona is going to have judges who just say, no, thank you, have a nice day, as they did in 2020. But this is the way it works. So now begins the legal battle, which I think should happen. And I think there's two things to say about Arizona. One, universal mail-in voting, as I've described ad nauseum. Yep. Mom says, come on, kids, we're going out to dinner. Her 18, 19-year-old kids who live at home because the economy's in the gutter. And then she says, before we go out to dinner, fill out your ballots. And those kids go, Mom, I don't care about this. And just fill it out and we'll go to Olive Garden. Unlimited breadsticks. So they do. That greatly helps Democrats. Republicans don't have that same ballot harvesting game. The bigger issue with Democrats doing that and then Republicans going in on election day, and this is partly Trump's fault, the machines were busted. Many of the machines weren't working. Videos popping up of them rejecting ballots. Ballots were the ink wasn't properly laid, so the machine was having trouble scanning it. Then they had to put them in and adjudicate it. Some people were leaving because the lines were too long, disenfranchising Republican voters, and probably, I would argue, enough. That is a problem that must be adjudicated. It must be solved in the courts. Otherwise, this problem will never be solved. If there's one thing Kari Lake can do, even if she doesn't become governor, she can stop the broken process so the next time around this doesn't happen.
I need to confirm Katie Hobbs is in charge of the election in Arizona.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she did not recuse herself, obviously.
And neither did Brian Kemp in 2018.
Yeah. This is like a huge deal that someone is in charge of an election they won.
And it was in 2018 with Brian Kemp. And he's the Republican. Same thing. He was in charge of the elections. The Democrats cried foul. He ended up winning, and they claimed he disenfranchised voters to win.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. And Stacey Abrams then spent 4 years saying that she was basically the governor. What's also interesting about Hobbs is that Hobbs refused to debate Kari Lake. So when you talk about how Fetterman, has some level of brain damage or whatever the stroke did to him, on top of all the bad ideas and everything else. So Democrats can put up candidates that barely can speak, Fetterman and Biden, and they can also now put up candidates who literally will not debate the other person. This is a huge problem. It's a function problem, but it's a problem. It's like, remember that? But what was it, about a month ago when she said, we're busy with fundraisers, so I don't think I'm going to have time for a debate. Well, then that seems disqualifying to me.
I think, I was talking about this the day after the election. I wake up and I see all these Republicans like, how could this have happened? This is Trump's fault. And, I'm like, I don't understand. Why is everybody so mad? The Republicans won. Like the projections were 224 in the House. Now it's 219. Mm-hmm. Maybe in a week I'll be like, well, I guess they didn't win because more ballots came in and they cured them or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. They're saying Lauren Boebert might lose now. But as long as the Republicans take the House, that's it. By one vote, they change the speaker, Pelosi's fired, and then they can start subpoenas and all that stuff. And fingers crossed, I think they're projecting like 98% chance that's what's going to happen now at this point. And I'm like, what more could Republicans have wanted? If you got the Senate, then you get Rand Paul on the.
You want the Senate, yeah.
You get Rand Paul on the health committee. You can ask Fauci questions. He's already done that, so they're not going to pass laws. There's no veto-proof majority. Biden wouldn't allow it. I think there's two silver linings here. With Fetterman winning, you're now going to have endless memes about how insane the Democrats are for electing this guy. They're going to try and keep him out of the press to a great degree. Yeah. And also it sort of absolves Republicans of any responsibility for the downturn that happens. So as bad as it's been over the past couple of years, and it's not going to improve, already they're talking about the economy is expected to get worse. There's going to be a major economic crisis next year. The Republicans can be like, hey, y'all voted Democrat. We barely got the majority by plus one seats. So, don't look at us. Come 2024, there's an opportunity if they fix the universal mail-in.
Right, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. It still comes down to that because things are pretty shitty now. We're in a recession, although they don't call it. They changed the definition of recession, so it doesn't quite count. The supply chain stuff. Just try to order something from Crate and Barrel, see how long it takes. Try to buy a window, right? Like literally anything. So there are a million things on top of the fact. Does anyone in this room not think that Joe Biden is mentally compromised? Or anyone watching this?
That's putting it lightly.
I was trying to be nice. You said you didn't want to get booted off YouTube tonight.
You're being very nice to Joe Biden. Compromise.
But the point is, we all know there's something wrong with the president. We all know that none of this is working. As I said, that there's just lies everywhere, and we just keep going with it.
Well, we don't.
Well, no, right.
The problem is the mail-in voting.
The machine or whatever you want to say.
So when did you realize Joe Biden was not all with it? Was it Batacaf Care, Nexnel Rescent, Trinidad Shabbat Pressure, or was it
Your pronunciations are pretty solid on those things because
I
not easy words to intentionally.
Trinidad Shabbat Pressure.
Yeah,
I sat and listened to that to try and really get. Oh, and now he's got Relaland.
Yeah,
you saw that one, right?
That was just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Relaland.
Rule of the land. He's trying to say.
Perhaps I'm not here to translate Biden
True
into
international.
English.
He's got
something.
2 words. America is back. Like everything with this.
Made
guy.
in America. I got 2 words.
Oh, that's what it was. Made in America.
This matters. You hear him say that a lot, and this matters.
But what we just witnessed, I don't see Republicans winning ever again. I talked about this specifically in my earlier video today. Now, you could criticize Donald Trump since his main issue for this midterm was talking about the 2020 election. You could criticize them from doing fundraisers for Masters and receiving $99 out of $100 and giving only $1 to Masters. That was, that was outpaid for by his opponent, $80 million to $12 million. You could criticize them on that, but when you have the ballot harvesting, when you have the mail-in ballots, additionally, when you have big tech censorship, when you have yellow bellies and neoconservatives in the Republican Party, I don't see them winning ever again in the near future. What else could help them win? They have no institutional power to change any of this. They won't change anything, and even if they did, I wouldn't even have any, optimism that they would.
So I think you're making my earlier argument, which is sort of you strengthen the red states and you bring in all the good people from the blue states.
Yeah.
You let
Brain drain them.
You let the blue states crumble under the weight of their own bullshit, and you strengthen. You bring all of the productive people. You bring all of the productive companies. You hire based on skill instead of equity. You do all of it right, and then you save certain places, and then you just kind of go, man, it was beautiful in the 80s and the 90s, but we couldn't hold on to it.
That's a good argument because even like 20 brilliant people can completely transform a state.
Of course.
Like, you don't even need 20 of them.
Look what's happening in Miami right now. They took all of the worthwhile talent from Silicon Valley. They didn't take all the social justice warriors. They took the main people from Silicon Valley. They brought them into Miami. Suarez is doing an incredible job. He literally, it was the tweet, right? His tweet was, "How can I help?" And he basically brought an entire industry there, and Miami is exploding as opposed to imploding, which is what's happening in Silicon Valley.
we chose West Virginia. I like
solid, great.
Yeah, and we've actually we've moved employees to come out to the area. We're expanding the operation. We're starting a couple new businesses, and we're going to continue to expand our West Virginia operation. The cities here are very small, but it's surrounded by. It's really interesting. We're 3 hours from Pittsburgh. We're 3 hours from Philadelphia. We're an hour from DC, an hour from Baltimore. We're 2.5 hours from Richmond. We have all these major urban centers all around us, but we're in a red state with a lot more freedom. It's not perfect. West Virginia's got issues, but we're going to fix them. There's a big opportunity here in the land being cheap. There's airports nearby. They have infrastructure. Central West Virginia is another story, but I think we can do a lot of good here. And I came down here because a friend recommended coming down here, and now I see great opportunity. And I've been looking at the local representatives and the congressional reps, and they're based, They're like Ron Paul type politicians. And I'm like, this is a good opportunity. I look at Florida and it's incredible, but that weather, man.
That's what you said to me before.
Tough.
I don't know what
Miami.
you're talking about. The weather is freaking awesome.
I love the weather.
I live in Miami. I was there all summer. Yes, it's humid. It is. And
they have a statue to the guy who invented air conditioning.
Yes, there's a thing called an air conditioner, and it conditions the air. And when you're inside, it's
respect
cool.
to that guy.
It's the beanie.
Yeah, no, great
Brilliant
guy.
invention.
We're going to see a
You guys are running
transformation
AC in here right now. It's like 20 degrees
Miami.
outside, and you got AC going on in here right now. So
That was not my fault. So someone turned the AC on. I have no idea why. It's 40 degrees outside.
Tim's going to go through a transformation where he removes the beanie and goes to Florida. And
See,
he can finally
I
handle the heat.
lived in Miami.
Oh, wait a minute.
But were you
This is
wearing
a
a beanie?
beanie issue with you. That's
No.
what this
Yeah,
is.
7
Yes,
degrees.
this is,
I
it's a
lived in
beanie.
Miami.
Yeah.
And the issue is when there's 2 months out of the year you can skate, and it's January and February.
I'm telling you, I just was in Florida this morning in Miami. It was about 72, absolutely beautiful. The iguanas are
Okay,
out.
fine.
The frogs
November,
are-
December, January,
No,
February.
this is a beanie issue with you. It is. You don't want to be the guy in the sweaty beanie. Oh, there's the sweaty beanie guy.
That's not
'cause
true
it's
because I'm
August. Yeah.
always the sweaty beanie guy.
No, but you're
That-
obviously sweating a lot less here. You don't want to be August sweaty beanie Tim and people
have
wandering around.
you experienced Chicago summer, my friend? No,
I've been to
come on,
Chicago
come on.
in the summer. I've been to Wrigley in the summer.
It is absolutely not the issue because I actually use the beanies as sweat rags and I strain them out as I'm skating. And I'm not exaggerating. Anybody who watches me skate knows that. It's
black then because you always wear black and you feel like you'd be very out of place there. It's very hip. Neon
if
colors.
you
We
watched the
love
Cast
neon.
Castle
of sunlight,
vlog,
too.
Yeah.
you'd see me wearing a light blue helmet and a white shirt while I'm skating.
Oh, so it is going to happen, you're telling me. Because
No.
You've got a sweat rag on your head. You've got your neon colored clothes.
It always looks slow when you're
Getting
watching
ready.
a transformation up
Yeah,
close.
this is very exciting.
Getting ready. No, Florida is expensive. That's the real issue.
It is
We-
expensive.
we
they,
looked-
they have to work on that.
We looked at I looked at Florida,
Yeah.
and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And in West Virginia was way more land, way cheaper, way more freedom. We can shoot guns.
Yeah.
Florida's definitely got places you can do it.
You
but
could go down to Homestead. That's where
That's where I lived.
Yeah. Oh, is that right? I mean,
So-
there's land and there's guns, and that's where I go shooting. And
I
yeah,
lived
it's awesome.
just north of Homestead, and man, what was the street number? I don't know. The Redlands.
Yeah, Redlands. Yeah.
Yeah. I lived over there for a year. We had a 5-acre property. We had chickens, and it's beautiful during the thunderstorms, man. It's really, really amazing. The thunderstorms roll in 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And then we're just sitting watching the trees.
So now you're telling me how great the weather is.
So many
you
coconuts.
See what we did here, Timple?
We had so many coconuts. It was insane how many coconuts we had. We had too many coconuts.
So you have coconuts. You have the storms that you're happy about.
You know,
got
I'll tell you,
freedom.
the weather is not really that relevant compared to the good laws. Especially, I talked to everybody here. I said, if Ron DeSantis really gets this law passed on social media protections, we relocate in an instant.
Yeah.
In an
There-
instant.
Listen, I don't want to speak out of turn here. I just know they're working on a million things. They're working
Yeah.
on ESG stuff. Like they are doing everything we're asking. So for all of these people out there, as I tweeted this morning, if you think that Ron DeSantis is part of the machine and he's just one of the generic ones and he's just a Romney or something like that, it's like, man, he's done everything you've asked. He's crushing in elections. Like there will never be somebody good enough for you if that's your take on him.
That's the crazy thing. You tweeted something that I thought was really good. You said Ron DeSantis is doing everything we're asking for and he's winning. And people are accusing him this is
Of being the establishment.
Yeah, this proves that he's bad.
It proves right because people have been so beaten into submission that when the good thing happens, they think it must be transitory, something like that. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be if we then go and start building the proper institutions, which is exactly what he did. He cleaned up voting, knowing that he's not going to be around forever.
I'm still skeptical of DeSantis, especially with him not being able to pass constitutional carry in Florida. But at the same time,
Well, they just got a supermajority now.
which if he does, I mean, all out respects if he does push this through. But he does go against the trans agenda. He shipped illegal migrants to Martha's Vineyard. He's fighting fiercely against the ESG social credit score. And how can you call him establishment?
No.
It's just crazy. And then Florida was one of the few states that survived the whole weight of all the lockdowns, of all the restrictions. They were the number one state that was attacked for allegedly killing people by allowing them to be free, and they stood up against it, and he stood up against Fauci more than anyone else.
AOC went to vacation in Florida with no mask.
He got to change his wardrobe. It's the suit makes people think he's establishment. Being in the hot Florida sun in a suit.
Do you think it's maybe that a certain
just
set of
won.
people just use the phrase establishment to mean just sort of anything that's like somewhat normal? You know
Well,
what I mean?
he's got people like Ken Griffin,
Yeah.
who's come out supporting him and
Ken
offering
Griffin was the money guy.
Citadel
What's the-
guy,
yeah.
establishment funding. But my attitude is,
I mean, who did Trump have him funding? Like who's
Sheldon
funding
Adelson?
Trump? Exactly.
but
Like,
my
those are
attitude
some-
is this: Look, just because someone, when they went after, I think it was Rubio, they said, you're getting money from the NRA. They own you. And he said,
right. That famous moment.
Yeah, he's like, I don't get money from them because I do things for them. I get money from them because I'm doing things already, and they want those things to happen.
Yeah.
That's the thing. DeSantis is winning. I think these people are like, well, it's cult, communists, critical race theory, or DeSantis. I'll take DeSantis.
Yeah. Look, it's very obvious that I did a show with DeSantis in Orlando. It was the last show on my book tour in Orlando. So we went to Disney country, and everybody there was psyched to see the guy, excited. We had people in the meet and greet coming up to me after that were Disney employees that could potentially lose their job if he if he gets rid of these tax benefits and everything. And they were coming up to us telling him how appreciative they were. So everyone has moved on this stuff. Nobody wants this. Everyone knows that this woke nonsense in schools and second grade teachers talking to kids about sex or gender identity or imagine you had a kid and you found out that the third grade teacher, male teacher, was talking to your daughter secretly about sex and calling her a boy's name or vice versa, any which way you want to play that. Like, we all know it's wrong, but again, we just need more adults to be like, hey, we're here. We forgot we were supposed to be.
With a sick sexual fantasy for a teacher to do that to a kid.
Twisted.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.